Welcome to Morley Radio. We're here in our Waterloo studios, and we're going to give you a little tour of the studios, all the equipment, and how everything is connected. So come in. So our studios have been built, they were built 3 years ago. They're industry standard building in terms of the acoustics of the spaces, in terms of the actual building of the actual physical studio, but also all the equipment is industry standard, so we can give our students and our users sort of the best experience possible. I'll give you a very brief outlook of the equipment. You have the standard on most recording studios or radio studios. You have some microphones, you have a desk, and you have a computer. That's really all you need first. Our studios in Waterloo, we have 3 studios. This is Studio 1. Next door, as you can see, that's Studio 2. And Studio 3 is where we do a lot of our courses, where a lot of our students get to try lots of different things before they come in to these studios, which are the studios that can actually broadcast live to the outside world. So at the moment, neither of these studios is broadcasting live, but if we wanted to, we can use something called the Sound Effects switcher, which allows us to bring any of the studios live on air, but we wouldn't do it at the moment. So as you can see in this studio, we have 3 microphones, and any of the 3 microphones can be active at any particular moment by bringing the faders up. It means that we activate the microphones are live in the studio, and if we hit record or if we started broadcasting live, then all of those 3 microphones will be live on air. We also have in this studio, as you can see, we have 3 cameras. So the cameras are controlled by OBS, and that is so that we can also do video podcast. And it's something that we're in a trial testing phase at the moment, so that we can do video podcast and stream in platforms, in different platforms such as YouTube. So in terms of the actual equipment, I mean, all of this is what we have, but people at home or in different studios might have different type of microphones depending on their needs. So in this case, we have here some Neumann microphones, TLM 103s. And the Neumann microphones are fantastic microphones, industry standard. They're great sounding microphones. But to have that type of microphone, you need to have a very quiet room. Otherwise, you might end up getting a lot of noise from adjacent rooms. So that's something that we can have that. I should clarify that some of the equipment that I'm talking about, it's identical across our 3 studios in Waterloo, in North Kensington, and in Chelsea. So in terms of the desk, in terms of the sort of layout and the setup, the software is all identical across, and that is being done intentionally. So if we have any user or any student coming into Waterloo to do a show, but then they move to a different place in London, or it's more convenient for them to bring a guest to the North Kensington Centre and the North Kensington studio, then they can do it comfortably because they'll walk into a studio they feel familiar with. We have, as I mentioned, we have an Axia desk. So the Axia has not just the desk, but also has an engine, which is the engine that controls all the preamp levels, all of the EQ compression that we manage on the sound. The Axia is what allows us to control the microphones, but also whatever is being played out on our software. So if I were to play this, the only way I can bring that to the speakers is by bringing that particular fader up. So this is kind of our control center. We can control everything from here, and we can assign also different microphones to go to other studios, or even we could have a presenter here and a guest in one of our other studios like North Kensington or Chelsea. So we could send the signal to them, or they can send the signal to us, which makes it a very flexible system, because it means that we can have a guest and a host in different locations all at once. I should say that this computer also, where we host OBS and the cameras, also has our kind of phone-in system. So we use a phone-in system by Broadcast Bionics, but we also use Zoom. So when we nowadays, especially since the pandemic, a lot of our guests want to come in through Zoom. So we can bring them into a separate fader and we can record them as if they were a separate guest in the studio. So we could have people on the microphones and we can have someone on a separate fader, which is our Zoom or our phone-in fader. But Radio.co has been fantastic because one of the reasons we chose Radio.co is because the platform is really easy to use. It has a lot of content to support people, especially if they're people who want to start a new show or a new radio station. There's a lot of content on their website, a lot of helpful guides from how to purchase your first microphone or how to choose your first microphone, all the way to how to stream, how to get your content uploaded, and that was one of our reasons because of the amount of resources they offer their customers. There is also, and I'll give you guys a quick tour in a minute of our actual music recording studio. Here in Waterloo, we have a music recording studio where we could broadcast live a recording session, or if we have a band that wants to play in the studio, we can bring them into a fader using our Red 4 Pre by Focusrite. That is a Dante connection, and we have Dante point-to-point connections between our studios and our recording studios and our venues. So for example, we have a large concert hall called the Emma Cons Hall here in Waterloo, where we could have the big band doing a concert, and we can bring that. We put a couple of microphones in the concert hall and bring the big band into a fader, so we could broadcast that concert potentially live, which we do for some concerts. Also in our smaller concert space called the Holst Room, we can also do that. So we're now in our recording studio. This is a music recording studio where we can record bands, we can record all sorts of things, but also we could broadcast from here to the radio studio. So come in. This is a commercial recording studio. Again, just like the radio studio, we created a facility that gives our students the opportunity to learn and to practice in industry standard hardware and software. So the studio has been designed from the acoustics to the equipment to replicate in many ways a lot of commercial studios. So students get to learn a lot about analog gear, they get to learn a lot about external outboard physical gear, but they also get to learn about software and plugins and all of the stuff that everyone else does. Here we have regularly classes, or we actually have commercial sessions where we record bands, where they come in, we set up microphones and we get to record them. But sometimes also for Morley Radio, we record a band, or perhaps if we have a show that one of the guests is a large band that we can't fit in the radio studios, we'll have him playing here, and then we can broadcast via Dante using RedNet. We can broadcast them to the radio studio and out into the world. So that is sort of a very quick introduction to the equipment that we have here in Morley Radio. There's lots of other bits and bobs, like our Genelec speakers, but lots of other things that we have in the equipment here. But that gives you a very general idea. But just to round off, we are here in Morley Radio in Waterloo, really close to the Lambeth North Station. So come and pay us a visit, give us a shout, come and say hello, and maybe you can come and do a show with us. But don't forget that we're also in North Kensington near Goulburn Road, and also in Chelsea near Kings Road. Come and say hello. We have 3 studios and we invite people to come and do a show for us.
And just before you go, have you ever thought about launching your very own internet radio station? Surprisingly, it's a lot easier than you may think, especially when you make the time to chat to myself or a member of the Radio.co team. To do just that, head to our website radio.co/demo, where I can talk about your plans, any questions you may have, and me and the team can really get you up to speed in launching your own internet radio station in literally minutes. It couldn't be easier. Why not check out some of our webinars, tutorials, help guides situated around me? Or why not visit our website, radio.co, or even drop me an email, studio@radio.co. Until next time, take care and happy broadcasting.